The rule that students choose a level of schooling that maximizes their net present value of their lifetime earnings generalizes to situations where there are more than two simple choices. So before we looked at just whether you should stop after your high school diploma or get a four-year degree, but workers have far more choices than that. The good news is for us working with this model is that it's the same, we see the same basic thing at play. So in this more realistic model, the student will not only consider two options, but will consider the costs and benefits of each option. And they're able to drop out along the way, even if they don't obtain a degree at some point. They could drop out after 1 year of college or 2 years of college. There's another way that we can think of this problem to give us some more interesting wrinkles. We can see where it is best for the student to stop their education, what your textbook calls a stopping rule. So the properties of the wage schooling locus. First, the wage schooling locus is upward sloping. That means that workers who have more education must earn more as long as the educational decisions are motivated by financial gains. Next, the slope of the wage schooling locus tells us by how much a worker's earnings would increase if they were able to obtain one more year of schooling. So we can think of this as the slope of the locus as the rate of return to school. And third, finally, the wage schooling locus is concave. What that means is that the law of diminishing returns applies here just like it does so many other times in this course. So as people accumulate more human capital, as they go to additional years of school, they end up receiving and generating less incremental knowledge. So the money they get from each additional year of school is going to be less. Let's look at a graph so we can walk through an example. The graph here on the right displays the years of education and how much employers are willing to pay workers at that education level. If the worker has 12 years of education or a high school diploma, firms will be willing to pay them $20,000, trace up from 12 years of schooling. That on the curve is $20,000. 1 year of college, so 13 years of schooling, is enough for firms to pay $2,300, and 14 years of schooling here is enough for schools to pay firms to pay $25,000. Finally, a worker receiving 6 years of post-high school schooling, so let's say a bachelor's degree and a 2 years master degree. In this case, trace that up to the curve. Firms will be willing to pay $30,000 for that level of education. So we can see that it is upward sloping, like we said on the previous slide, and there's diminishing returns to education. The early returns are very steep, but as time goes on, the curve gets more shallow, and you're seeing lower and lower returns to education for each additional year of education that a worker receives. So a worker approaching the decision for education this way will think of what wage do they want to earn, and then stop schooling once they reach that target wage.